Kush, your team finally did it. The Woody Marks game. The Houston Texans won a football game in 2025. Good for you, buddy. How are we feeling?
It was finally a great weekend of football for me, Hopefully the
Yeah,
first of many, hopefully the first of many. I was actually at the game yesterday.
good.
So it was rough in the first half, but in the second half, fourth quarter, football started to become fun for me again. So hopefully we keep that going.
Yeah, we're excited to get into it. Week 4 of the NFL season was a doozy. It was a fun one. There's a lot that happened. It's still not over. We're recording this Monday, September 29th in the afternoon at 2 o'clock. My team has yet to play on Monday Night Football. We'll see how that goes. We'll be talking about that on Friday's episode. But welcome to Play Action Takes, Apollo Media's NFL podcast brought to you by Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang. Zang responsibly all football season long with Zing Zang. And shout out to Big City Wings, Houston's wing joint, Apollo's wing joint. Best place to watch football on a Sunday is at Big City Wings in Houston. We love Big City Wings, longtime sponsor of Apollo Media. I'm your host, Tony Strankman, joined always by Kush Patel. Like you said, you had a good weekend. So let's get into the Texans. They win a game, beat the Titans to 26-0. CJ Stroud looked a little bit better. Passing game was a little bit there. Woody Marks was the standout for me. Obviously, Mississippi State. I think he technically graduated from Mississippi State. He transferred to USC. That's where he got drafted out of. But I'm claiming him. Mississippi State, Woody Marks. Hell of a game from the kid. Late fantasy ad for me. Had like 27 points coming in off the bench into the starting role due to injuries. Woody Marks, welcome to RB1 until Joe Mixon comes back.
Yeah, Woody Marks was it was really impressive the way that they used him yesterday. Um, I don't know about Joe Mix. Like none of us know when he's gonna come back.
No.
So I feel like it's a shuffling of the running backs between Woody Marks and Nick Chubb for now. And Nick Chubb obviously had the first couple games, but I think Woody Marks kind of proved to the coaching staff yesterday that he deserves to get more snaps. And then speaking of rookies that played really well, how about Jaden Higgins with a touchdown?
Yeah. I mean, that's huge. You needed Higgins to be something this year, to be productive, to be able to get open, to free up Nico Collins. Yeah, I mean, he only had one catch for 24 yards, but it was a touchdown. It counts nonetheless. Woody Marks was great in the pass game too. 4 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown with 69 yards on the ground. Like, it's what you want to see against the Titans team that's been struggling this year and hasn't been able to put up a ton of points and hasn't been able to get a win yet. You needed the division win. You needed to start clawing your way out of a big hole that you started in, 0-3. Yeah, it wasn't like an impressive win, I would say. It was like 6-0 there in the first half. I was like, ooh, it's not good. We were recording Zero Gravity at the time, and I was just giving live updates to Sheldon and Josh on Zero Gravity. I was like, oh, you got a touchdown. Good for you guys. You're scoring points. So it's a nice start. It's a nice get back. You also got rid of what's his name, Cam Robinson today,
Cam
left
Robinson
tackle.
traded for draft picks in the future
Yeah, nothing.
to the Cleveland Browns, and you know I heard a lot of differing opinions on this one this morning, but I think for me, I think the most important thing with this whole thing is the coaching staff kind of just took that L with Cam Robinson, and I think Arante Ursary just taking that job just had a lot to do with it too. So it's you can see it as a negative, but on that side of things, where the rookie's playing really well, he did have not a great game last week, but other than that, I think he's been okay. He's been pretty good, and I actually see it as a positive because anytime you have a rookie that can outplay a veteran like that and really just take that job, I think it's a positive.
Yeah, and you cut CJ Gardner-Johnson last week as well. So you're trimming the fat and you're trying new things. You're putting new guys in those spots and just expecting different results, which is the smart way to make a football team, I would say, when you don't invest in the O-line in the way that you probably should have after the first year of CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
At least you're trying something. At least you're doing something about it and not just standing back there like, hey, it might work, could work. It hasn't. So now they're trying something different. So credit to the Texans GM and the staff there just trying different things, and getting Woody Marks in the game repeatedly was a big mark for me. It's just like every time he was in the game the first 3 weeks of the season, something good happened for the most part. I didn't know why you weren't trying it more often. They tried it more often against the Titans. It worked out. It's still the Titans. I understand that, but Jeff Simmons is still on that team. Like, he can still wreak havoc. Woody Marks only averaged 4.1 yards per carry, so not great. Everyone else was like under 4. So still not what you want to see from your running backs, but at least it's progress in the right direction, I guess. And it's a win. You take those.
We do, yeah. One of my favorite parts about this game was after the game in the press conference, where they're talking to Cam Ward, and obviously Cam Ward's frustrated, angry about being 0-4, and Cam Ward was pretty much like, "Look, guys, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. Like, we're ass. We suck. We're not good."
Yeah, it's not really what you want to hear from your starting quarterback,
No.
but at least he's honest. Keep people accountable. I don't know. That was
Yeah,
funny,
maybe
but
maybe
yeah,
the coach gets fired in a couple weeks if this stuff goes on.
yeah, it might keep happening for Tennessee. But Texans finally get their first win, 26-0, a big shutout win at home. Good to see for you guys getting a win. Maybe my team can win tonight, and we can just have a 2-0 week on this play action takes pod for our teams. That'd be fun.
Well,
But
if that happens, we gotta throw a party next week.
yeah, we'll do it on
Yeah.
Thursday when we record. That'd be great. Next game, early slate was a lot of fun. There's a lot of crazy games going on. Eagles Bucks decided again by a blocked kick. The Eagles' first touchdown came from a blocked punt, returned it for a touchdown, and that ended up being the difference in a 31-25 game. The Bucks were getting their ass beat for a while there. They ended up making it a game, having some chances to go down the field to go tie it. The Eagles they just won. The Bucks are so beat up. There's no offensive lineman. Egbuka's basically your only weapon outside of Bucky Irving right now. Mike Evans is hurt. Chris Godwin's just now coming back. It was tough sledding for the Bucks. It was a hard game for them, and they almost made it a game there at the end. But the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, I know Junior's been talking a lot of shit on Twitter recently about Jalen Hurts, saying that there's a full pack at quarterback. A.J. Brown, Devontae
Shout out
Smith,
Junior.
just out there getting some cardio in each and every week. Jalen Hurts had 130 yards passing. We're going to get to this, but Underdog, use promo code PATNFL. I had Jalen Hurts more than 169.5 yards. That's it. Higher than. And I didn't get that. He was my one loss on a six pick entry for Underdog, and he was the only one that didn't get higher than. And I'm very upset about it because it would have won me a good chunk of money. But the Eagles, they sneak away with another win. They did a tush push, but it wasn't a tush push. It was a flip to Saquon Barkley. So that was new. That was fun. Saw someone tweet, if you're going to line up as the tush push, I think you have to declare that someone is going to be running a pitch before, like saying that the lineman's coming in to be eligible. Yeah, that might work, but I don't think it will. More tush push talk, but they didn't do it. Didn't run one entire time. They were on the one at one point, and they did 2 shovel passes to Dallas Goedert. That was sick. But the Eagles kind of beat that ass until the Bucs made it a game. But ultimately, at the end, a blocked kick for a touchdown was the deciding factor in this game for the Eagles. Good for them.
Yeah, the Eagles just, to me, they haven't looked amazing yet, but they just keep finding ways to win this year. Not comparable to the Chiefs' devil black magic of last year, but they just find ways to win. And then for the Bucks, I thought they would have a tough time winning this game just because of the injuries, and that kind of showed up, on the field.
It just keeps getting worse for them. They keep losing guys that they can't lose, and it's going to be tough sledding. But the good news is they started out 3-0, so they had a little bit of buffer there. You're playing a really good Eagles team, defending Super Bowl champs. So the Bucs, I think, ultimately are going to be okay, especially in the NFC South, where you never know what kind of Falcons team you're getting every week, and the rest of the teams you're not even worried about. So the Bucs are going to be okay. It's just going to be a hard 5-6 weeks now with all these injuries. You see if you can get somebody back healthy and get Mike Evans back after a few weeks of the hamstring injury. Like, they're going to be all right. Another early game, though, that was buck wild. Colts Rams.
Yeah.
Cracked out. Another underdog slip that I had. Puka Nacua, higher than 89.5 yards. I should have just made that significantly higher. He had like 100 bajillion yards. He was going all over the place. The Colts didn't look as crispy as they had, but they were still in the game. It's 20-20. They have a shot. AD Mitchell, Texas player, by the way. So that education was showing off last night. He dropped basically to 14 points because of him. Could have just won that game. He had that long touchdown where he's going to hold the ball out across the goal line, and he just fumbles it right before. And then it looked like in real time, I thought he caught it and had a foot in bounds at the end of that play, but I guess he didn't, and that's tough sledding for the Colts because he dropped 14 points off the board there for the Colts, and Daniel Jones didn't have his best game through that pick early, and There was that holding where Jonathan Taylor's like running into the end zone, and that gets called back. It was just too many mistakes by the Colts, and the Rams capitalized. Puka Nacua, though, is the topic of conversation on this game. Is he the best wide receiver in the NFL now?
I think you have to say so far this season, yeah, he is. And I mean, before the season, I kind of thought Devontae Adams might steal some of his targets,
Thought the
but
same
his
thing.
his catches and his targets are still up there like 9, 10, 11, each game. And he's getting 100 yards receiving each game. Like, he's already at about 555 receiving yards after 4 weeks. Like,
Yeah, 503 receiving yards, 42 receptions, and a
yeah.
touchdown.
And do you think he can get to 2K receiving yards?
I really
Is
thought
that
Tyreek Hill
possible?
was going to be able to do it, and obviously Tua getting hurt that helped. That didn't help his situation, and he got to like 1,700 and change. Like if Tua was healthy that whole season, I think Tyreek does it. The problem with that is like Tyreek was catching 20, 30, 40, 50-yard catches
Bombs, yeah.
every single game
Yeah.
that Tua was playing. Um, but if Puka Nacua is going to get 11, 9, 15, and 15 targets every week, yeah, I mean, there's a world where he just averages 130 yards per game and just gets to 2,000. I don't know. Like he had 170 yards yesterday, 15 targets, 13 catches, and a touchdown. His long was only 31. So like and his longs before that is 25, 24, and 20. So like if he's doing that multiple times a game, he's definitely got a shot. Problem is, it's like I don't know if he's getting that multiple times a game right now. Obviously, he did yesterday, but I think he's the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. Like Tyreek Hill had it for a minute. Devontae Adams years ago. Like who's the best wide receiver in the game in the last 3-4 years? Was it Tyreek for 2 years, and now it was kind of open?
Some would say Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's your other guy, and he doesn't have Joe Burrow throwing him the ball right now, so he kind of is just disqualified because of the quarterback play.
Yeah, and then I mean, man, I don't if you want to argue that Puka Nacua is not the best receiver,
Who is it?
exactly. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, who right now, who are you putting above him? Um,
It can't be anyone right now through 4 weeks.
yeah, he's amazing, man.
I mean, he's ridiculous. He's had he's had a hell of a season. He's already got 500 yards through 4 weeks. I mean, if he's doing that, then yeah, he gets 2,000 on the season. I just don't know if he's doing that, but could be wrong. I could be right. Who's to
Um,
say? I mean, what
and
does he
if he does get 2K, then maybe we're talking about a receiver being in the MVP conversation. An award that's like universally owned by quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, it would be insane. He had 130 yards week 1, 91 against Tennessee in week 2, 112 against Philly, and 170 against Indianapolis. Like, if he gets a 200-yard game here or a 190-yard game, then yeah, like we're right on pace. He's on
Yeah,
pace for 2,100 yards right now. So, yeah, you could throw him in there. Like, but if he's doing that, is Matt Stafford stealing all the votes on the MVP?
that's a good point too.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a quarterback award. JJ Watt said it a few weeks ago in the offseason, like
Hmm.
it's a quarterback award for a reason. It should be that way. They're the most important player. But as long as Puka stays healthy, then we're looking at him keeping the wide receiver belt going into next season, and he's gonna have a hell of a lot of yards. So he's got to get those touchdowns up. He's looking like Julio Jones right now with 1 touchdown with
Yeah.
500 yards. But it is what it is. Colts Rams game was electric. I had a lot of fun in that early slate. Um, we had some news though. Break last night during the Sunday Night Football halftime show. They announced that Bad Bunny
We did.
is
Yep.
headlining the Super Bowl halftime show this year. Great pick. Incredible pick. I wish the game was in Miami this year because Miami and Bad Bunny just go together like a Cuban sandwich and an espresso. Like I'm going to have a blast with Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl halftime show. A lot of people are upset about this
Yeah.
because he is a Latino singer, rapper, artist, and everything's in Spanish. So what? I don't know what he says most of the time. I can pick up every 10th word probably, but sometimes he goes really fast and I can't pick it up. I studied Spanish in college, went to Spain for a summer, had a great time. I can pick up every 10th word. He goes really fast, but it's a vibe. It's a good time. And why are people upset about Bad Bunny being the halftime show when I mean, we've had some really good halftime shows over the last few years. I think Bad Bunny's going to be up there. He's a superstar. He's going to be a lot of fun for the halftime show.
Yeah, Bad Bunny is a global icon. Whether you want to agree with that or not, that's a different story. But he is a global icon, a global artist, and the vibes are with Bad Bunny are they're just immaculate vibes. You know, I'm not a Spanish speaker. I know a little bit here and there, but every time I listen to Bad Bunny, it's always a great time, always very entertaining. And I saw a report where I guess they were talking to Taylor Swift to see, you know, for her to be the halftime show. But I guess there was a issue with in like negotiations with the money side of it or whatever. But like anytime with these musical artists that get introduced to the NFL, I think the part I like about it is it just brings more like outside fan interest into the NFL, which at the end of the day, like that's always a positive. That's never a negative. More fans, more money, more interest. More better.
Yeah, and the thing with the Super Bowl halftime show is that the artist doesn't get paid to do it. They basically invite them to come do it. They sign a contract, and it's an unpaid thing. So they have to bring all the equipment. They have to bring all the stuff to get there, and the production and the show that goes with it, the dancers, the backup stuff. Like the artist has to bring that, which costs a lot of money to put on a concert for free. Like if you're not getting tickets or anything like that, but it's a good notoriety thing. Like playing in a Super Bowl halftime show is a mark of being a really good artist. And like last year, I had a great time with the Kendrick Lamar one. I know it wasn't like the best performance necessarily, but he was the most, I don't know, controversial artist last year with all the stuff with Drake. And like that was a lot of fun. The Rihanna one a few years ago was awesome. I heard they were talking to Adele. That's what my wife was saying, that they were talking to Adele about the halftime show, which I thought that would have been interesting because that's not really a Super Bowl halftime show necessarily, but I think she would have killed it too. Like she's dating Rich Paul, like she could have gotten in there and has the connections and all that kind of stuff. But Bad Bunny, I think, is the correct pick. And if you're mad about it, then just go listen to him. It's a lot of fun. I'm gonna listen to it at the gym after this podcast. So love Bad Bunny as the Super Bowl halftime show. And if you're angry about it, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
To the haters, listen to him one time and you'll change your mind. I promise you.
And bangers left and right. Bangers left and right. Love Bad Bunny. You know what else I love, Kush? Underdog Daily Fantasy. I love Underdog Daily Fantasy. Use promo code PATNFL when you play your first $5. You'll get $50 in bonus funds using our code PATNFL. This week, look, I hadn't won since we partnered with Underdog. It had taken a long time, but we did something. We got some results this week. Yesterday, I had Puka Nacua higher than 79.5 receiving yards. Tyler Warren higher than 3.5 receptions. And Blake Corum higher than 20.5 rushing yards. He got 21 right on the dot. Tyler Warren, 4 receptions right on the dot. And Puka Nacua had 170 yards. So like I wasn't even sweating that one. But won some money with Underdog Daily Fantasy. We love Underdog Daily Fantasy. For football season, it is important. Get into football season with Underdog. Make the games mean a little bit more to you. If you're not rooting, you don't have a certain rooting interest in the game, go put some money into Underdog Daily Fantasy, $5 using our promo code PATNFL, and we'll get you $50 in bonus funds. We love Underdog, so download the app today. Sign up with promo code PATNFL to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first 5. That's promo code PATNFL. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdogs. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 and older, 19 and older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 in Colorado for some games, 21 in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. We're in Texas. It's going to work here. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms underscore DFS underscore.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPEline at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Use promo code PATNFL with Underdog Daily Fantasy, new sponsor of the show. We love Underdog here. Get into it with football season. Promo code PATNFL. Shout out to Underdog. Did you win some money this past weekend?
I almost won some money. It's I bet yesterday I was at the Texans game yesterday, and I put in some entries while I was at the game. My Will Anderson higher than .5 sacks did not go.
Mm, it's
My
tough.
Jaden Higgins higher receiving yards did, and my Daniel Jones higher passing yards win.
Well, you're almost there. Garrett,
Almost there. We're almost there.
Garrett, our host of Off the Gridiron, our Texans podcast, has been one off on like 7 and 8 entries, and it's incredible how close he gets. It's like half a yard or a yard away from hitting each and every time. He's going to win a lot of money with Underdog, and so could you. Use promo code PATNFL when you sign up and play your first $5 and get up to $50 in bonus bets. We love Underdog here. You know who was an underdog yesterday? The Giants. The New York Football Giants.
How about the New York Football Giants?
Starting Jackson Dart in his debut. I thought it was going to be week 6. That's what I said in preseason. I stuck with that. Russell Wilson was so bad in week 3 that they had to do this. They had to make the change. Brian Daboll had to make the change to save his job. Jackson Dart looked all right. I mean, he looked kind of swaggy. He was having a lot of fun out there. He was making some big plays. Cam Scatterbo looked incredible. They ended up beating the Chargers 21-18 with some big defensive stops there at the end. They did just enough on offense to outscore the Chargers, where everyone's talking about the Chargers. They're scoring all these points. Justin Herbert's slinging the ball all over the field. He did not do that at all yesterday against the Giants. Giants end up winning in Jackson Dart's debut. Hell of a game from the kid.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this Giants defense, all season, and that defensive line is really, really, really good. And one of the things I liked about, Brian Daboll's game plan here against the Chargers was he kind of put in plays that Jackson Dart's familiar with running. They kind of spread it out, let him run the ball, healthy dose of Cam Scatterbo, and then just trusted that defense to make plays, keep him in the game. They were up a lot of the game, and I feel like all these teams that we figure are top teams right now, are they just have a couple great weeks, and then not so great week. And I tweeted this last night. I was like, man, after 4 weeks in this NFL season, all the teams that I was like for sure about that are going to be like major contenders, except for 2 teams, or well, I'll say except for one team, I'm not really that sure about them after 4 weeks. And the only undefeated remaining that I'm like for sure about that is going to be there for sure is the Buffalo Bills. Other than that, like even the Philadelphia Eagles, I don't know about them, even though they haven't lost the game yet, but
They haven't looked spectacular. But yeah, with the Chargers, Justin Herbert threw 41 times for 203 yards, had a pick and 2 interceptions, took 2 sacks. Wasn't his best game. The Giants pass rush was there, had a hell of a time. Marion Hampton had a breakout game, 12 carries for 128 yards. He had a 54-yard touchdown there to get it close. He looked great. Quentin Johnston looked great. Justin Herbert did not, unfortunately, and their offensive line didn't. Jackson Dart only had 111 yards. Not great for a touchdown, and he took 5 sacks, so it's not great. But he had 10 carries for 54 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Like, he had some juice, but there is a major downfall to this Giants team. He threw a deep ball to Malik Neighbors on the sideline. He goes up to jump for it. MetLife turf strikes again. Malik Neighbors torn ACL, out for the season. We won't see him again until next year. It's going to hurt a lot of fantasy teams. It hurts one of my fantasy teams. But it sucks for Malik Neighbors because he was due for a real good breakout season with a quarterback that might be able to give him the ball a little bit more and more consistently. He's going to get a lot of targets from Jackson Dart now that he's in the starting role. And it sucks for Giants fans. It just keeps happening. You get a star wide receiver from LSU, tears an ACL, and it's over for the season.
yeah, that's a tough injury for that team. That was kind of yesterday. They were kind of looking like
Fun.
a serviceable NFL team, because a lot of people thought the Giants were just going to tank and suck this year. Brian Dable's gone. Uh, Jackson Dart was not the popular NFL draft pick for them with the fan base, and they kind of needed Neighbors to stay healthy. It's just unfortunate that injury happened. He's out for the season. But yeah, fantasy owners are really, really hurting right now.
Yeah, it's that's tough sledding for the kid. Like, I feel bad for him because he was having a great start to the season with inconsistent quarterback play, and now he's going to finally have a consistent quarterback. He's going to be in there for the rest of the season, and it was a deep ball. He made a play for it, and he jumped up, and you could see immediately like he didn't get the full jump in. He goes to the ground holding his knee, and I'm like, that sucks because that's non-contact. It's not what you want to see, and I feel bad for him, even though I kind of hate Malik Neighbors. Once committed to Mississippi State through signing day, he's about to go on stage to sign with Mississippi State, and he got a call from LSU and signed with LSU. Don't blame the kid. I understand why you're going to LSU, Louisiana kid going to LSU. That makes sense to me, but yeah, I'm still upset about it. So I feel bad for him. Wish him nothing but the best and speedy recovery. But the Giants take a big hit there. Like you're gonna have to rely on rookie Jackson Dart with what Darius Slayton out there, like Cam Scadaboo, where he carried it 25 times for like 3.1 yards per carry. Like it's not going to be good. But their defensive line looked sick yesterday, so that's a plus. You'll take that. Anything else on this Giants team?
Oh man, I mean, I just think this team's gonna they're gonna struggle offensively just because they don't have a go-to receiver anymore for the rest of the season. But I think the other side of it, I wouldn't say a positive side of it, but the other side of the coin for Giants fans is I think that will kind of help Jackson Dart's development a little bit, just because it's great to have a number one receiver that can make plays like that. But I think this is going to force him to just really get better at other parts of playing the quarterback position. So maybe it'll help him out in the future. But obviously, you always want to have a number one receiver like that out there.
Yeah. Sucks for the Giants, but they get the win against the Chargers. That might just help their draft stock without Malik Neighbors. Like Malik Neighbors would win you a couple games this year. Now that he's gone, it's going to be heavier load for the rest of the guys. Are the Jacksonville Jaguars for real? Are they a real football team? I don't know.
I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm not going to say for real yet, but I think they're very impressive. Their defense, they are really, really good at taking the ball away. I think this is a team that their defense is going to be great. Their offense has a couple weapons, and I think it's on the quarterback, man. Is Trevor Lawrence going to improve to the point where he can take this team to the next level? I think that's going to be the thing to watch, and I think they've done a good job of kind of taking control of the division early this season. But if I kind of get into every Jacksonville Jaguars fan's brain right now, I think they all remember what happened in 2023. They started out so well and then they just collapsed. And I think that's always going to be in the back of their mind. But are the Jacksonville Jaguars for real? Yeah, I think they're close to being for real just because of how great their defense is, the fact that they can take the ball away and force turnovers, and then their head coach is kind of feisty, man, with the beef at the end of the game. How about that?
Yeah, that was interesting. Like Robert Saleh had to have said something for Liam Cohen to be turning around yelling at him, being hauled off by three players and an offensive lineman standing in between him and Robert Saleh. Like something had to have been said by Robert Saleh. That was feisty. That was good. That's kind of what you want to see out of your head coach if someone's going to come after him after a win like that. Like it was a good win, 26-21. They got 2 picks off of Brock Purdy, who did not look very good coming back from injury. Christian McCaffrey and company just weren't able to really do much against this team. 2 picks by the same guy though on Jacksonville. So like, I'm not going to say they're for real because Trevor Lawrence only had 174 yards. Travis Etienne had a hell of a game, had like 128 yards on the ground, had some big runs, big catches. Like he was doing some stuff. But Brian Thomas Jr. is still afraid of the football. You know who I forgot was on this team in any way, shape, or form? Travis Hunter. They traded a lot for him to get him in the draft. Haven't seen him. He made an incredible catch over the middle yesterday earlier in the game. And I was like, oh, Travis Hunter. Yeah, I forgot he was there. So it's still a lot of question marks. Obviously, you're 3-1 and you're sitting in good position right now in the division with the Texans now 1-3. You still got a 3-game lead. Like you're going to be all right now. We'll see how it keeps going after September ends and we're into October and November. We'll see how they keep doing it. But Yeah, Trevor Lawrence scares me, especially at 55 whatever $1 million that he's getting per year. And then your weapons just being afraid of the football, Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. That doesn't spell confidence for me right now. But if they just keep winning, then I'll have to change my tone in a month.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue this team should be 4-0. I don't think they should have blown that Bengals game.
Yeah.
They had a good like even with Trevor Lawrence throwing those picks, and even after Joe Burrow got hurt, and the Bengals quarterback throwing a couple picks, and they still come away with that win. I think that's one of those games. If I'm a Jaguars fan, I'm looking at. I'm like, man, we should have won that game. We should be 4-0. But I think they're good at 3-1. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that they need to fix, but at the end of the day, you're 3-1. You lead the division, and I I think this defense is just going to carry them all year.
Yeah. They might be all right. We'll see.
Yeah.
Next team that's not going to be all right, the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, Roquan Smith both have hamstring injuries. They're going to be missing. Roquan Smith is definitely missing some time. Lamar Jackson is probably going to miss at least a game with hamstring injury. And then what's his name? Matabuke, is that right? Done for the season with a neck injury. Defense is taking shots left and right. I think Marlon Humphrey's on the injury report now too. It's like all of your good defenders are falling apart right now, and that's not a good sign. And then when Lamar Jackson isn't able to do his whole theatrics and scrambles to win you games, that's not a good sign. They got cooked by the Chiefs, 27 to what, 13, 17, something like that. Like they got kind of wally popped against the Chiefs, who haven't really looked good this year. The Chiefs looked good yesterday, where the Ravens looked really bad. Lamar Jackson looked really bad, and he wasn't able to find open wide receivers, and he wasn't able to scramble out of the pocket and get yards like he normally is. So the Ravens, it's deep waters. You're playing against a Texans team that likes to rush the passer, and if you don't have Lamar Jackson, it's going to be a lot tougher next week without that guy. If you can stop the run against Derrick Henry, who has kind of been stopped a lot this year, except for the Bills game. Obviously, he had the fumble there at the end of the game that kind of ruined it for him, but he hasn't been spectacular this year. And if that's the case and Lamar Jackson isn't able to carry you to a victory and your defense keeps falling apart, the Ravens might be cooked, even in a bad division. Like, no one's really good in that division, and they might just be cooked.
Yeah, their defense has not been spectacular at all, and Patrick Mahomes 4 touchdowns. That's the first time I believe since 2023.
Whew, wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
You thought it would have happened in a 15-1 season, like or 16 or
Isn't that
52,
crazy?
whatever they were. Like you would have thought that he would have thrown for 4 touchdowns against one team there. That's insane. Since 2023, yeah, the Chiefs looked like the Chiefs again, which is not a good sign. I don't want to see that again.
Yeah, that's a bad sign for the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
But on the Ravens front, like the injuries are gonna hurt them. I don't believe they have ruled Lamar Jackson like questionable or doubtful yet or out. We'll see if that happens later this week. But yeah, if they lose Lamar Jackson, it's not going to be good. You're 1-3, could be 1-4 next week. It's kind of a must-win game for both of these teams next week.
Yeah, I mean, if you're 1-4, the hill that you have to climb in those two divisions, where it looks like the Jaguars have improved, the Steelers are all right, the Bengals aren't going to do anything, the Browns are still a hard defense to play against. Like, it's not easy sledding for either of these teams. You got to win this week to get to 2-3 just to even have a shot at making the playoffs. If you go to 1-4, I don't know what the odds are, but the odds have to be plummeted. They got to be real down there in the 1 to 10% making the playoffs after going 1-4. We'll see though.
Yeah, and it kind of sets up a matchup where the Ravens have dominated the Texans throughout our history. Fun fact: I was actually at the Christmas Day game last year when they lost 31-2. I call it the Beyonce game because that's the only thing that was happening in the NRG Stadium that day.
At least you had like a halftime show where I went to Dolphins Packers on Christmas Day a few years ago, 2022. No halftime show. It was the coldest day in Miami history in the last like 90 years. It was like 30 or 41 degrees or something like that. It was freezing in Miami. I was pissed off about it. And then Tua gets concussed after having the lead in that game, and they ended up losing Aaron Rodgers. So at least you had the Beyonce halftime show.
Yeah, the rest of that game I'd like to forget about, never talk about again.
It was a bad game.
But yeah,
It's a bad
Yeah,
game.
this next week for for both the Ravens and the Texans, um, I would say it's like kind of a playoff atmosphere because whoever loses the game, their season is essentially pretty much over. And for me, I feel like the Ravens have a lot more pressure just because Lamar Jackson, multiple time MVP, everybody and their mom before the offseason said this is the most talented roster Lamar Jackson has ever had. And you cannot go 1-4. Can't happen. Like you have to win this game, and then hopefully they can get on a run to get back into the thick of things for the division and in the AFC. And then for the Texans, um, I think it's a must-win game too. Like they don't want to miss the playoffs. D'Amico Ryans doesn't want to miss the playoffs. Another fun fact, fun stat to throw at you: if the Texans make the playoffs this season, it'll be the first time in franchise history they've made it 3 straight years.
That would
So I
be
think that's something they want to do too. So it's going to be an exciting game.
Be crazy. Yeah, the Ravens,
Yeah.
they were dealt a tough hand to start the season. You get the Bills in week 1 in Buffalo. You get the Lions in week 2, prime time against the team that won the most games in the NFC last year. And then the last week you get the Chiefs. Like that's 3 incredibly hard games. And like you just hope to be 2-2 and coming out of that 4-game stretch heading into the Texans. And now you're in a situation where you have to win to be 2-3. And it's just it's gonna be tough. Well, it's gonna be a fun game. I can't wait to
Yeah.
preview it later this week on Friday when we get into that episode. One last thing before we go, though. Last night, Sunday Night Football was incredible. I'm glad I had the game on mute. I'm gonna just go ahead and say that. I was watching it on my laptop. I saw all the tweets. It was the Micah Parsons got traded to Dallas or to Green Bay show. The entirety of it, apparently, they wouldn't shut up about it. Then Micah Parsons gets a little bit dinged up. He's grabbing his back. He doesn't play a lot of the second half, and that game was incredible. Dak Prescott, incredible. Just dealing with all the injuries that they've had with CD Lamb, and the offensive line isn't as good anymore. Jake Ferguson was banged up heading into the season. Like George Pickens is new. Can he do anything? Dak Prescott was making throws last night, just willing that team into overtime, willing that team to a lead to hopefully have that defense hold something. Jordan Love looked incredible. That was a hell of a game. It ended up being 40-40 in a tie in overtime. We haven't had a tie in a while. So that was exhilarating. I love a tie in football. It's the dumbest thing ever. Like we shouldn't have ties, but I think it's really funny when we do end up having a tie. So Cowboys Packers ends in a tie. Both quarterbacks played incredibly well. Josh Jacobs went berserk. He ended up getting hurt as well. DeMicah Parsons' debut in Dallas as a Green Bay Packer didn't go the way he wanted it, I don't believe. He got a little bit banged up. I don't think he got a sack on Dak Prescott. He was talking about that, a week or two ago. So incredible game, incredible Sunday Night Football. We've been blessed with an incredible amount of great primetime games. Like even Seahawks Cardinals last week on Thursday Night Football was a really good football game. I know it was kind of gross, but it was 23-20, like close football games. We've been really kind of nailed the primetime slate this season so far. I mean, I've enjoyed it. I think tonight's going to be a dud, though, with those 2 games that are kind of bad. But we'll see how that goes. Hopefully they're close games or one blowout for me and then a close game in the second one. That'd be nice. But the primetime games have been incredible. 40-40 tie, Cowboys Packers. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I can point to 2 games just this season that are the most exciting, best games I've seen in years. The Bills and the Ravens, and then this Cowboys and Packers game. I mean, it is a damn shame that it ended in a tie. If you don't mind, I'll go on a overtime rules rant a little bit later. But man, if the Dallas Cowboys had any shred of a defense, Dak Prescott is your MVP. I mean, he was just simply amazing last night. Like I said earlier, it's a shame that nobody could win this game, but man, Dak was amazing. George Pickens was amazing, and then just both offenses um, scoring, both defenses giving up plays, and then the bad clock management by the Packers at the end of it. To you know, that was a really really disappointing way to end that game.
Yeah, it was tough that it ended in a tie. Like one of those teams deserved to win, but both teams deserved to lose at the same time. Like their defenses were so bad, but the offenses were so good. And so it was kind of a two-edged sword there. Yeah, I just like that made me feel better about the Cowboys. It's like they might just be able to be in every game because if their offense is looking like that and not what it looked like against the Bears, they've kind of got a shot. If their defense can get a stop here and there, they've got a shot. The problem is I don't believe the defense can do that, and I don't believe the offense can do that every week either. Like even with Dak's heroics and all that kind of stuff. But Jordan Love looked really good too. So for the Cowboys, that was like not the worst case scenario. It was a pretty good scenario, honestly. Getting a tie against the Packers. You're 0-6-1 against the Packers in Jerry World in
At
AT&T.
least you're not 0-7, right?
It's not 0-7. So you didn't lose, but you didn't win. So it's kind of a shit situation for both teams, but it's funny to always see a tie in football. Like I'm a big hockey guy, big Dallas Stars guy. Like you see ties all the time. Like you just see if you lose, you get a tie. If you win in the shootout, then you get a win. Like it is what it is. Like you kind of deal with that. You still get a point out of it. But in football, there's nothing to come from a tie, like outside of just having a tie on the record. There's no benefit to it really, except for winning percentage come the end of the season. If you have a tiebreaker scenario, like if you have the better winning percentage or not a head-to-head matchup winning there, that's the only scenario where it matters. And I think it's just funny. I enjoy ties. It's usually a really bad game that ends in a tie, like a Bengals-Browns game from years ago before Joe Burrow. Like those were the ones that always ended in ties. I didn't foresee a 40-40 overtime tie. I did not see that one coming.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody expected the Cowboys to get belt to ass by the Packers in this game.
Yes.
And that didn't happen. Cowboys were impressive. And here's my little rant for overtime rules. I believe, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this even just last night. I think college football overtime rules, they do such a good job of it. And I feel like if they incorporated that into the NFL, not only would it solve all these ties, but I think it would just be way more entertaining in overtime. Because I feel like the overtime period in the NFL, sometimes in these games, is such a drag. You're just like, man, just can this game please end already? But with college football, it's just you get the ball at the 25, whoever scores last wins, and it's just entertaining.
Yeah, I think with the NFL, they need to just go with the touchdown wins it. If you get a touchdown on the first possession, that ends it. No, you don't get both teams in there. But if you kick a field goal, the other team should get a chance. That's the only scenario I'd be happy with if you're not doing college football rules. I just experienced college football overtime with my team this past week, and I'm sad still. Mississippi State still back 4-1. Strong game against Tennessee. But yeah, I mean, you start on the 25. You get a chance. If you kick a field goal, you're at a disadvantage because the other team has a chance to go score a touchdown and win it. And then if it goes past that, then you got to get the 2-point conversion if you score a touchdown. And then after that, it's only 2-point conversions to get the hell out of there. I think it's a great thing for college. I don't know if that works in the NFL. That's my only issue. It's like, is that too college? Is that too amateur? I know college players aren't amateurs anymore because they're getting paid, but I think that's how they would look at it. So I don't think they're going to change it. But if you score a touchdown on the opening drive in overtime, the game should just be over. It just should. Like in hockey, if you score a goal in overtime, the game is over. You don't get to play out the rest of the minutes that are left on the clock. Like, score the touchdown, game's over. If you kick a field goal, the other team gets a chance. That's the only scenario I'd be happy with if you're going to have the both teams having the chance thing. If you score a touchdown, it's over. Just call it then.
Yeah, I think this has been a debate since like God knows how many years. The whole I don't like that the whoever scores a touchdown first wins. Like both teams should get an opportunity. Especially with the Bills and Chiefs in the playoffs. A few years ago, and then they changed the rules for the playoffs. But I get you when you say, we don't know if the college rules would particularly work in the NFL, but
I
I feel
think
like it's something as a fan I would want to see just to see if it works.
I think the product would be good. I think the NFL would say no. Like Goodell and all those guys. That's where I'm at with that.
Yeah.
I think the product of the field would be good if you started on the 25. Both teams get a chance, and you go on from there. But the other thing against scoring a touchdown and the other team getting a chance is like my 2007 Dolphins that went 1-15. Their only win was against the Ravens in overtime. Greg Camarillo, just like a 75, 80-yard slant that he ran it in. to go not winless in that season, essentially. Like, I don't have that moment anymore, because if they score that touchdown, the Ravens are absolutely going to score a touchdown, and they end up probably tying in that game. I don't get that moment. You don't get that moment anymore. You don't get just the walk-off.
That's true.
You don't get a walk-off, and you don't have many opportunities for walk-offs in the NFL season. Like, there's Hail Marys every once in a while, every 5-6 years. Like, you get a Hail Mary at the end of the game, like Cardinals-Bills a few years ago. Like, that was fun. You're not getting that in the NFL. So, like, if you get the touchdown, that's a walk-off. Call it a day. Get the hell out of there. Like Falcons, Patriots Super Bowl, walk-off touchdown. Like, that is an awesome moment to have. And you're missing that out because you're like, no, the other team needs to have a chance. No, you already had 60 minutes of chances to score more points. If the other team wins the toss and gets the ball and scores a touchdown, game is over. Call it a day and get the hell out.
Yeah, and then I think the other part of it, if I'm Roger Goodell and I'm looking at all this stuff, is the health part of it. You know, it's just more football means more possibility for injuries and all that good stuff. So,
and don't do 10 minutes, do 15.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it big then. You know, just do the 15 minutes overtime. Just call it, like, make it what it is, because at that rate, you probably have a chance, 2 chances on offense for at least one of those teams to go out and score. With 10 minutes, like, team could go drain the clock for 4 or 5 minutes, kick a field goal, and then the other team's just going to go drain the clock. And if they end up scoring a touchdown, it's great with no time left, or they end up kicking a field goal with no time left, and then it's a tie. Blue balls. That's how I can describe it. It was blue balls.
That's the OT rant for today.
Yeah. But that's it for Play Action Take. Shout out to our sponsor, Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang over here. Zang responsibly all season long with Zing Zang. Shout out to Big City Wings, Houston's Wing Joint, Paul's Wing Joint. They got 14 locations in the greater Houston area. We love Big City Wings over here. Best place to watch football on a Sunday is at Big City Wings. And shout out to Underdog, our daily fantasy app of choice. Use promo code PATNFL. And when you play your first $5 with them, you get up to $50 in bonus funds with Underdog Daily Fantasy using promo code PATNFL. Thank you for sponsoring this episode. Kush, any last words before we get to week 5 preview? We're moving along. Week 5 is coming up later this week.
We're at week 5. Man, those 2 amazing games we've had this season, I hope we get one of those every single week, man.
That'd be nice. We had a good slate. I was kind of weary of it heading into this week. The slate ended up proving me wrong. It was a good slate. Had a lot of fun watching those games. We're going to watch my Dolphins play tonight. We'll see how that goes against the Jets at home. They're wearing their fun new rivalry uniforms, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Probably going to suck, but whatever. It is what it is.
At least they'll look good.
Yeah, the field looks awesome, dude. The navy blue end zones and the navy blue accent on the logo in the middle of the field, it looks incredible. It's a shame that this team stinks. But that's it for Play Action Takes, Paul Media's NFL podcast. We'll be back with another episode very, very soon.